Hello and welcome to a high energy video about jQuery and the basics of it. This is going to be just a quick overview of a few great things about jQuery and what separates it from pure JavaScript. I hope you learned something from this and enjoy this little tidbit of information that I've put together for you. Alright, so let's get into it.
Hey, welcome to a video, guys. This is Daniel John Donovan, and I'm going to show you about some jQuery. So that was screenshot, but basically jQuery is a library, and the library makes JavaScript so much easier to write. And JavaScript is useful because you want to have some stuff done on the client side. Not important stuff like in video games. You don't want to say the player health is client side, otherwise people can hack things. That should be server side. But anyways, let's jump into this. It's something that the programmer loves because it simplifies things, and it's something that the end user loves because it's delivered quicklier. That's a word, quicklier. Speaking of that, one of the drawbacks of pure JavaScript is the fact that certain things in JavaScript you have to write it in a very verbose way, meaning that it's confusing, like me, the way that I speak. Now, in order to do something simple, like doing a simple checkbox or something like that, one would have to, well, let me just read a little bit of what one needs to do. In order to check the value of a checkbox, one has to first set a variable that holds the checked value. This could be a string or a number or what have you, as well as gather the elements that contain the information one is gathering. A for loop is then constructed to iterate through the elements in order to zone in on the specific radio button group. Using characteristics such as the type, name, and whether or not it is checked, if all those conditions are true, then a number or a value or a string is stored in the checked value variable. jQuery, on the other hand, is so simple that it can be stored in a single line of code. Now, you can see here that I've underlined this, and that I have pointed at this radio text here. The reason for this is because I tried to do a recording of this and realized that my microphone was not engaged. Let's continue on. So we have a function here, simple jQuery, and inside of here it says input. So all the input elements. And then what type? It's radio. Okay? And then we're saying specifically the name of radio group name will be looked for. Only those ones. I know this is complicated, guys, but we're going to get through this. And then finally, we're going to check to see if it is checked. Oh, and these ones will surely be checked because this says checked right there, not unchecked. We wouldn't want our radio buttons to run unchecked, would we? Just like our government. Anyways, so next we check or look at this thing right here. So this is the end of the jQuery portion when we have that period there. So that's that. But then we have this new function, and it's value. And the value tells it to get the value of that element, if indeed it has one. Okay, so we've covered that. Let's move on to this beautiful painting, which represents jQuery. Doesn't really. So let's talk about unobtrusive versus obtrusive JavaScript. Now, there's a lot of pre-professional programmers would use something like obtrusive JavaScript. The pre-professionals, excuse me. And it might look something like this. You might have an on-click event that is, all stored in the actual HTML. This is just some code for something else. So don't mind this. But imagine this is an HTML document right here. And you put this here, and you're putting your actual JavaScript in the document. So, or throughout the document. You're putting all the script throughout the DOM. This is bad. Instead, you should do this. You should keep them separate. The scripts should go here, and the DOM should stay there. And the reason for this is twofold. One, it's confusing to put everything within the DOM. So you got a script there, you got a script there, you got a script there. Well, additionally, there are certain parts of a script that might require for the full DOM to be loaded. So you have to write in, oh, please wait for the DOM. Instead of doing all that crap every single time, then what you can simply do is keep them separate. This needs to be separate. Now, we've seen the example of what an obtrusive piece of JavaScript looks like. This is obtrusive. It's in my face. It's all over the DOM. We don't like it. Now, something that is not obtrusive would instead look a little like this. So, what we have here, we have simple script. Let's imagine this is right, well, it is right there. But up here is the bottom of the DOM. Okay, and there's a script tag right here, and the end script tag right there. Or even better yet, this is referencing a source file that is external to the document itself. Now, what we see here is that we're referencing the ID, and we're adding an event listener, a click one. Just like before, it was on click, but this is not going to be in your face. It's not going to be in the user's face if they happen to look at the source code of this document. So it's really good because it will, I don't know if I said this. There's two things. One, it's freaking annoying and confusing to have your source everywhere. Your scripts everywhere, all over the DOM. Two, it saves on loading time. So if you have all these sources up there, you know, it's just extra things that aren't necessary to the actual layout of the page. They'll keep your users waiting. And who wants to do that? That's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, man, Daniel, I really want to get started with this JavaScript. I love it. I mean, this jQuery, and it's like, oh, I'm in love, and I don't know where to start. What do I do? Well, okay, let me tell you. Well, oh, wait. Uh, Let me answer that with a question. What are you doing with jQuery? Are you actually putting it on a live site? Or are you just developing? Do you want all the features of jQuery? Or do you just need a few for your development or for your site? Well, okay, let's answer those. Because if you're doing it on a live site, you don't want to get the big version of it. In other words, the non-minified version. The minified is very ugly, and if you are developing, in order to troubleshoot what's going on, you're going to want to know, you're going to want to be able to look at it and not have a seizure because it's so minified and unformatted. It takes out all the comments that would be helpful for you to understand any error codes that it gives. So if you're doing development, don't do the minified version. If it's live, do the minified version. If you're not using all the features, use a tool like Grunt. You're going to have to download Grunt. It sounds like a great tool, right? Sounds beautiful. Okay? Don't say anything else. Okay? Alright? So, you can use Grunt for that, and basically, here's one last thing. You probably will eventually want to use the jQuery. Let me see here. Of course you're going to want to use jQuery, but there's a specific function I want to show you. Here we go. Very simple, very common function, very common, and here it is. So in this one, we are getting the entire document, and then we're saying when the document is ready, then we'll do some kind of function. It could be a list of several functions. Could be a list of several functions that they go here, some sort of whatevers, event listeners and so forth. They go there. This is the beginning. Okay, guys, and this was the end of the freaking video. So I hope you enjoyed learning something about jQuery. I learned a lot before doing this video, and maybe about presenting I learned that. So I hope you enjoyed, and I almost said I killed. I'll see you next time. Yeah.
Wow, that was a great video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and subscribe for more. I'll be putting together a whole video series on jQuery, and it will be very useful for anyone who is looking to learn and perhaps get in the field of web development. Alright, have a great one. Bye.